Greetings, Heavy Metal Truckers here. In these videos, we tend to take a listen to some metal, and we give our honest thoughts on it. Could it be simple, could be in-depth, just depends on what the thoughts are. In this video, we are going to be expanding on our little segment of Around the World, or whatever we're calling it, and we are taking a trip to Guatemala. And this group is called... I had it. It is Theophobos. And I don't even remember the track name because reasons. So you'll see in the title. I am so intrigued to see what you guys say to this.
I don't know. I mean, you kind of have this like soft, jazzy, swing, lounge kind of vibe going on in the background, and then you have just this like spoken word that I honestly couldn't pick up what they were saying, and that could just be because of the quality through the Discord.
Okay, yeah.
But I was wondering if there was like if this was like an intro, like it was starting to be like an intro to his song, and then it was gonna pick up later. I was wondering if this was like when it didn't pick up into like anything. I wondered if this was maybe like either the outro piece to one of their albums or the intro piece to one of their albums, or maybe like an interim piece in their album.
Let me ask you
it wasn't terrible, but
would this track make you interested to hear something else from them?
Yes.
Okay, we could do another video at a later date and expand on this. And I'll explain why later.
Oh no, absolutely. So like, yeah, I mean, it's not that it was terrible. I mean, it definitely grabbed my attention. It's just, to what extent is this? You know, that's where I'm kind of.
This is gonna be such a fun one, honestly. Yeah. For you, sir.
That's all I got.
It's funny because I actually messaged saying that maybe we should do a different song, not because, as I said, not because it was bad, just because from everything I've read of what this guy's stuff sounds like, it's different from what we heard.
Yeah, he was actually messaging me throughout this thing, and I'm like, no, I actually got some interesting ideas about the guy now. Of course, they're just hypotheses, so.
You know, but ignoring that fact that it's probably different from what his normal stuff is, because he's listed as psychedelic black metal, and that's not what we just heard. But anywho, it was interesting. I'll say that. You know, musically, obviously, it was pretty simple. There wasn't really a whole lot going on there. It was more based off of what he was saying and talking about, and so on and so forth, and his whatever, his thinking on stuff, whatever. But I mean, it wasn't bad. Is it something I would listen to normally? It's kind of like, not really, but is it like one of those things you're like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I would definitely be curious at some point to hear something else that's more online with what he supposedly normally sounds like.
Yeah. So this was definitely more like a poem aspect of an ideology. And
yeah,
this is for anyone which, even if you absolutely do not subscribe to any philosophy or idea regarding this, I still would highly recommend just at least researching and looking into it, because if it's what I'm thinking it is, and it's very parallel to what I'm thinking, but I could be completely wrong, I highly recommend people to go into a rabbit hole of digging into the occult. And with me saying that, I'm not saying, oh, go study witchcraft, go study Satanism, go and like just not doing a general thing like that. There are, especially within Satanism, and even Luciferian philosophies, there is a lot of way deeper level stuff that a lot of people may not really have comfort going into. But if you have the mindset of going and just understanding more of this from a philosophy standpoint, and just kind of just learning the ideologies of others, again, not necessarily adapting it, but just understanding it, it's really intriguing. This, and especially the video too, is what made me wonder. A lot of this sounds like someone who is either fairly well aligned with or has adapted the ideology of the Temple of the Black Flame. The Temple of the Black Flame, for anyone who doesn't know, and I feel like there's not going to be a lot of people that do know, because it's a very, very small group, and it was originally a Norse group, or Nordic group, and they used to be known as misanthropic Luciferianism, or Luciferianist, something along those lines. And a lot of it is what the guy was saying, and that there's a complete disconnect with the margin of society. Absolute complete disconnection. There's an absolute distaste for it. There is almost to it being repulsive. And of course, like just making simple interactions that need to be done, and that's about to the extent of it. And a lot of it is understanding the self and further discovering the self to the point of ultimate power of understanding and alignment with the darkness of the cosmos or the universe, and that being the infinite power that is, and aligning yourself with that to where like the physical form basically means nothing. And within the temple of the black light or the black flame, I'm wanting to say, and from whenever I did research this, or from what I could, because there's not a lot of documentation on it, if I remember correctly, this was a order that was began by Eric Danielson of Watain, and he was either is or previously was a member of the Order of Nine Angles, which is a satanic cult that was very much primitive in their philosophy of many aspects of Satanism. And one of the aspects that if any metalheads or extreme metalheads out there know Dissection, the guitarist and vocalist John, I do not remember his name off the top of my head, but he transcended within the philosophy and the order, and what is supposed to be done at that point once that transcendence is reached and you can't go any higher is take your own life. So that's just how that philosophy and organization goes about. And it's, again, I don't expect anyone to adapt to this philosophy. Hell, I don't even adapt to it. I definitely don't adapt to it, but just knowing and understanding it is almost like a morbid curiosity or morbid fascination, but it's just intriguing in the aspect of philosophy. And just having that candle, and again, this might have been just like a visual artistic direction that they went, but it just made me think, is he talking about his aspirations and attempts at wanting to go along and fulfill of what is common with the Temple of the Black Flame? I don't know any of this to a T. I haven't spoken to the guy. I don't know, but it's very well aligned with that. So this is why whenever Doppler was going, we might need to, I'm not sure about this, we might need to check a different video to see if there's something more along the lines with what I've read on it. I'm like, no. Hold up, because I'm intrigued by this now, and it's like I feel like I know a lot about what this guy's philosophy is. Granted, of course, I don't know for certain, but it definitely seems like it. So one of the moments where it's just like, I'd love to have a Hot Ones moment with this guy and just see if that's where he was going with this, just for curiosity's sake. But yeah, again, I'd recommend anyone that seemed remotely intrigued by the occult to go in a rabbit hole, and it can get fascinating. Again, you may not adopt any of the ideology, but just to understand it's fascinating. But anyway, instrumentally, it was doing what it needed to do. It was supposed to just kind of be a simmer down. I'm spilling out my thoughts and how I feel about this, and it was excellently done with that. I definitely want to hear more of maybe what they could be more aligned with as far as instrumentally, and just how they operate, as how the group is operated, or how the guy just plays stuff. So yeah, that being said, I'm intrigued to hear more. But until next time, whether musically, lyrically, literally, or philosophically at this point, keep rolling heavy.